What's up, friends? It's your old pal Dalby, and it's time for a game I call Questions for Dalby. You send me questions on Facebook or on Twitter or on Reddit or on YouTube, whatever, and I answer them for you in possibly the most ridiculous fashion I can. Sometimes we're going to be serious, sometimes it's going to be ridiculous. If you want to leave a question for a future Questions for Dalby, right down there, past the like button and the subscribe button, which you should already be paying attention to, just leave a comment with your questions. We'll get them into a future video. All right, let's get started. First one, what is the weirdest thing you've seen or done in a fight? And that comes from Jeff. I'm not much of a fighter. I don't fight very much, but I did see a man threaten to bite another man's dick. They weren't even fighting, but this guy was preparing for the possibility of fighting with this other guy and threatened to bite his dick. This is a story that's going to take a long time to tell. I'm going to have to do this in another video. The story of what we ended up calling the dick-biting cokehead. Subscribe, and you will see that video probably in the next week, now that I think about it, because it's an amazing story. All right, question number 2. Will playing Pokemon Go make me more attractive to men? That comes from Nicole. Couldn't hurt. I mean, honestly, men are weird creatures. We have very different things in each of us that we find attractive in females or in males, if that's your thing. Pokemon Go wouldn't exactly get me going. Like, my wife plays Pokemon Go. I don't find that to be the most attractive thing about her. It's cool. Mostly what I like about it is that she doesn't care if I play Pokemon Go when we're out for a walk or whatever. I can open up my phone and turn the app on and catch a Snorlax and everybody's hat. Like, nobody's mad that that's a thing that just happened. So, you know what? Screw that. Of course it will. It just depends on the kind of man, because there is guaranteed someone out there who has a huge Pokemon fetish, and just the idea that a girl would be walking around trying to catch Pokemon on her phone is just does it for them. So, you know, good on you. Hey, why not? What is the most terrifying thing you face every day being a dad? That's a question from Cora. The easy answer to a question like that would be poop. Or something like that, like changing diapers, like, oh my God. But I had younger siblings. I grew up changing diapers, so that's not a thing that worries me or concerns me. Honestly, just like the most terrifying thing is making sure that I don't kill the kids. I feel like that should be the number one struggle for literally any parent in the world. Like, you wake up every morning and your sole responsibility until you go to sleep that night is don't let your offspring die. And I'm not saying that it's something that comes up often, if at all, in my life as a parent. But if you want to know the most terrifying thing, it's when you think about, like, oh my God, things could happen. What's your favorite way to prepare and eat dirt? From Alexander. See, the problem with this is the only time in my life that I have ever eaten dirt was when I was forced to, like, by bullies as a kid. Like, you get knocked down and put your face in the dirt. So the preparation is not something I've ever really had the opportunity to worry about. Like, I've never been able to go, oh, I just need a little bit of salt, some pepper in there, you know, some spices, maybe heat it up a little bit. Like, that's not an option you get. If I had to choose how I would like to eat dirt, small amount of dirt, large amount of water, I guess. Like, is that an option? Can I drink the dirt? I've never had to think about this before. I've eaten dirt, but it's never been willingly, so I can't say that there's any sort of way that it's happened in my life that I go, yeah, that was my favorite. Felix wants to know Trump or Clinton. This should go really well. Neither. I'm a Canadian. I'm not voting for either one of them. Obviously, there's some ramifications for whichever one of them becomes president for a Canadian like myself. Trump is terrifying. If you want my honest opinion, the guy is a complete and total nut job. Clinton is also kind of scary. Everybody keeps talking about how Hillary is this career professional politician, and that's bad, and that's evil, and that's wrong. But at the same time, like, don't you kind of want somebody who's got some experience in this job to be the one to run your country? Like, sometimes I'll say things in videos or on Facebook or Twitter or on the radio, and people are like, yeah, Dalby for mayor, because they agree with what I say, and I have a platform to say it. But that's the worst thing that could ever happen to you or to me, is for me to be, like, somehow officially in charge of you or your family or your life, because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to run an economy or pass laws or any of that stuff. And I feel like Donald Trump doesn't know any of those things either. So you can say that Hillary did this or Hillary did that, and emails and scandals and all that stuff. And I get it. Like, it sucks. A two-party system is bound to produce this shit sandwich sort of outcome at some point in its history. But I'll take the person who at least will know what they're doing when they take the office, as opposed to somebody who I'm still pretty sure it did this as a joke that got way out of hand. I got a math question. If a train leaves Boston carrying 143 people, and at the first stop, half the people get off and 2/3 of that number get on, then at the second stop, 23% of the people that got off and 37% of the original people on board when the train left got on. Then at the third stop, 15 people got off, and the number of people who got off the train at stops 1 and 2 get on. How many people will be on the train when it arrives in New York City? That's from Rob. The answer is 25 to life, okay? Because you started with 143 people and you divided that in half. That means you cut somebody in half. They probably died. That is illegal. I will not stand for that, sir. You should be ashamed of yourself and the kind of mind that immediately thinks about cutting someone in half when given the opportunity to ask a question. Also, the answer is probably like 14 or something. It's math. Shut up. Chad wants to know what sticks better to a wall, Jello or pudding. Well, Jello is pudding, as far as I remember as a child. Or maybe you can get Jello pudding as opposed to the original, like, gelatin cubes thing. I feel like pudding would stick to the wall better because just the way it's made. Like, if you just took a mitt full of Jello and whipped it at the wall, like, most of it's going to bounce off. It sticks to the floor and your face really well, but I don't see it sticking to the wall and fighting gravity, whereas pudding, it's a little thicker. There's a little more to it. So pudding, there's only one way to find out though, really, and that's to go home, get some pudding, get some gelatin Jello, throw both of them at the wall, take a picture, and send it to me on Twitter at Dalby, and I'll retweet it, and then everybody will know the actual scientific answer. Let's do one more. Why did Yankee Doodle name his hat feather Macaroni? And that's from Chantel. Okay, there's a jump cut there, because I'm legitimately curious about this, so I just went and looked it up, and apparently, like, way back in the day in England, before the dandy, which you've probably heard the term dandy before, as people who, like, they dressed up all fancy and nonsense, before that, there were people who were even more ridiculous, and the term used to describe these people, these sort of somewhat effeminate, overdressed, ridiculous, like, stacked up wigs and hairdos, was macaroni. So the term macaroni describes somebody who's fancy, who dresses up extravagantly. To put a feather in your hat and call it macaroni would sort of be like making fun of that, I guess. Would sort of be like, yeah, look at me, it's macaroni. I decorated my hat with something I found that fell off a bird somewhere. So that's why. And now we've all been educated. So what better place than to end the video? Thank you for all your questions. Again, we will keep doing this as long as we have questions to answer. If you want your question in the next Questions for Dalby video, I'm all over the place. Get me your questions and we will answer them as best as we can, or as ridiculously as we can, or I'll just find some cop-out answer to get out of answering something that I don't know, like some crazy ass math question. Thank you very much for watching. If you like the video, like the video. If you want to see more like this, there's a subscribe button that will keep you in the loop the entirety of the time. I'm your old pal Dalby, and we'll see you at the next one. This is mine now. I'm taking this baby. You can't have it because you were gonna name it Pikachu.